The PQNK paradigm, engineering the rhizosphere for optimal plant expression, resource efficiency, and ecosystem regeneration. PQNK, cultivating sustainable tomorrow through regenerative agriculture. Abstract. This knowledge paper elaborates the philosophical and scientific underpinnings of the PQNK raised bed system, a transformative approach to agriculture. Moving beyond conventional practices focused on feeding the plant, PQNK engineers the root zone environment, the rhizosphere, to resolve the fundamental conflict between vegetative growth and reproductive yield. By emulating and enhancing the pore structure dynamics of productive clayish soils, the system creates a hydraulic and aerobic architecture that concentrates nutrients, promotes beneficial soil life, and leverages the root system itself as a dynamic manager and biofilter. The result is a paradigm that simultaneously delivers higher yields of more nutritious food, significantly lowers production costs, enhances soil fertility, conserves water, and protects the wider environment from agricultural pollution. 1. Introduction: Reconciling the central dilemma of plant growth. A perennial observation in agronomy is the apparent inverse relationship between vegetative growth and reproductive yield. Sandy and loamy soils, with their large pore spaces, often produce luxuriant, tall plants, yet their yield is frequently lower, their susceptibility to pests and diseases higher, and the nutritional density and shelf life of their produce diminished. In contrast, plants thriving in well-structured clayish soils often present as shorter and sturdier, yet they fruit more prolifically, exhibit greater resilience, and yield harvests that are more nutritious, tastier, and longer lasting. The PQNK philosophy posits that this disparity is not an inherent property of soil type, but a direct consequence of the structure and management of the soil's pore spaces. These pores govern the critical interplay between water, air, and roots. The core hypothesis is that the optimal environment for crop production is one that creates a dense nutrient solution in the root zone, a condition naturally fostered by smaller, well-managed soil pores. This paper details how the PQNK system is a deliberate framework for engineering this optimal rhizosphere. It is a methodology that transforms the raised bed into a sophisticated biofactory, unlocking a plant's full genetic potential for health and yield, while also functioning as a living system for water purification and groundwater recharge. 2. The science of the solution: pore space as the primary determinant. The secret to superior plant performance lies in the concentration of the soil solution, the water-dissolved nutrients available to roots. The dense solution principle of small pores: in a clayish soil matrix, dominated by micropores, water movement is restricted. This results in less free water percolating through the root zone. Consequently, the soluble minerals, hormones, and root exudates present are dissolved in a smaller volume of water, creating a concentrated, or dense, nutrient solution. Plants taking up this solution receive a higher dose of nutrients per unit of water, a condition that promotes efficient physiological processes. This mild, osmotic stress triggers a hardening response, directing the plant's energy away from excessive vegetation and toward robust reproduction, yield, the production of defense compounds, pest/disease resistance, and the accumulation of energy-dense compounds, nutrition, shelf life, and taste. The dilution problem of large pores: in sandy soils, large macropores allow for rapid infiltration and drainage of water. This excess water dilutes the soluble compounds in the soil, creating a weak nutrient solution. The plant must process a larger volume of water to acquire the same amount of nutrients, leading to rapid cell elongation, lush growth, but less investment in fruit and defense mechanisms. This soft growth is inherently more susceptible to environmental pressures. 3. The architectural blueprint: the PQNK raised bed as an engineered rhizosphere. The PQNK system is not merely about building raised beds, it is about meticulously engineering the internal architecture of those beds to replicate the beneficial conditions of a productive clayish soil. Re-engineering hydraulic flow: the system intelligently manages water movement to create a nutrient-rich zone. Controlled seepage: water is primarily introduced through furrows. It then seeps laterally into the bed, moving through the fine pore spaces. This slow movement prevents dilution and carries a concentrated solution of nutrients into the root-dense zones and center of the beds. Targeted infiltration: the central part of the bed remains drier, ensuring high oxygen levels for root respiration. Any excess water that percolates vertically helps to carry away salts, preventing their accumulation in the primary root zone. The Living Pore Network, a dynamic root-soil partnership. The most revolutionary aspect of the PQNK philosophy is its recognition of roots as active engineers of their environment, not just passive absorbers. Roots as pore managers: root hairs and fine roots physically explore, open, and stabilize small pores for enhanced absorption. Simultaneously, they can grow into and constrict larger pores, effectively choking them to create microzones for water and nutrient retention. The Legacy Root Network, the system's bioengine. The residual network of old roots is the cornerstone of a self-sustaining PQNK system. This network performs multiple critical functions. Nutrient bank: it acts as a vast, spongy matrix that adsorbs and holds soluble nutrients, preventing their loss from the root zone. Biofiltration and water banking: this is a pivotal ecological function. As water percolates downward, this dense mat of residual roots and its associated microbial consortium acts as a living filter. It intercepts and absorbs dissolved nutrients from the water column, effectively scavenging them and keeping them in the active root zone for the next crop cycle. The result is that only filtered, clean water is allowed to pass into the deeper aquifers, recharging groundwater supplies without contaminating them with nitrates or phosphates. Pathways for succession: new roots preferentially follow the channels left by their predecessors. This drastically reduces the energy required for the plant to explore the soil, giving new roots immediate access to the stored, dense nutrient solution. Soil amelioration: the old root mass provides a continuous carbon source for soil microbes, creates a resilient biostructure that resists compaction, and acts as a thermal mass, buffering the soil against sudden temperature fluctuations to create a stable habitat for soil life. 4. The PQNK outcome, a multifaceted impact analysis. The implementation of the PQNK philosophy yields a cascade of positive outcomes across agricultural and environmental domains. Food quality and nutrition: the uptake of a dense nutrient solution directly translates into higher Brix levels, increased concentrations of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, and superior organoleptic properties, taste, aroma, texture. The improved physiological health of the plant naturally extends the post-harvest shelf life of the produce. Production economics and yield: by shifting the plant's priority from vegetation to reproduction, the system directly increases marketable yield. It also drives a profound reduction in production costs through reduced fertilizer need. The closed-loop nutrient cycling and biofiltration drastically minimize leaching losses, enhancing nutrient use efficiency. Reduced water usage: the system's design maximizes water retention in the root zone and actively contributes to groundwater recharge. Reduced pesticide dependency: physiologically robust plants with balanced nutrition naturally exhibit greater resistance to pests and diseases. Soil fertility and biology: PQNK initiates a virtuous cycle. A healthy root network supports a diverse soil food web, which, in turn, improves soil structure, nutrient mineralization, and organic matter content, leading to a self-sustaining increase in native soil fertility. Water conservation and environmental protection: the system is a net positive for the hydrosphere. It acts as an ecological safeguard, virtually eliminating the non-point source pollution of groundwater and surface waters by agrochemicals. It promotes active water banking by facilitating the recharge of aquifers with clean, filtered water. It contributes to carbon sequestration through the continuous, deep incorporation of root-derived organic matter. 5. Conclusion: PQNK is a philosophical shift for a sustainable future. The PQNK raised bed system represents a fundamental paradigm shift in agriculture. It moves the intervention focus from the plant above ground to the complex ecosystem below ground, the rhizosphere. By understanding and managing the trifecta of solids, liquids, and gases in the soil, PQNK creates a positive feedback loop of plant and soil health. It demonstrates that we need not choose between high yield and high quality, between productivity and environmental stewardship. The PQNK philosophy provides a coherent, scientific framework for achieving these goals simultaneously. It is a call to action for all stakeholders in our food system to adopt principles that nurture the root zone, for in doing so, we nurture the foundation of our food security, our economic viability, and our planetary health. This is the legacy we must build for the generations to come. Footnote: any production process that inundates soil with water, disturbs soil through tillage, or leaves soil bare without organic mulch cover does not qualify as natural ecosystem science for production agriculture. PQNK, to be pronounced as picnic, which stands for Paedar Qudratti Nizam Kashatqari, and means, the regenerative and sustainable pristine organic farming system. The natural ecosystem science was never applied in production agriculture.